What is the one thing about a hotel that you think they need to nail in order for you to feel like you are a local insider?
I think I just always loved it. I worked in restaurants in high school and college and had just been around it and loved it.
But you have entered the market and just smashed it? Really? I mean, this doesn't happen so often that you can come in and it's like, okay, success.
I think at Mileta, we found a way to weave in some more interesting and creative ingredients, but deliver them in a way that's palatable for folks that may, be averse to some of the more exotic stuff.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Town and Country Ford, Kentucky, getting you there no matter where the road may lead. I grew up in a Ford family. My dad worked for the Louisville Ford assembly plant, and it was just ingrained in our upbringing. It was more than a brand, it was a way of life. And that's the thing about Ford, is that they're there for you here in Kentucky, across America. They're gonna get you there no matter where your road will lead. Right now, their massive summer clearance sale is going on. To get started, just head on over to fordlouisville.net and pick out your next ride today. So if you've tried to get a table at Mileta in Lexington, good luck, because it is a complete smash hit. And I'm so excited to bring the mastermind behind it all. Dallas Rose is here, stopping by the Best Bet podcast today, because they're going to have yet another concept, probably as successful as the first one, but he's here to drop all the exclusive details. Dallas, so good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, wow. Were you nervous that announcing another concept so soon, after one's going so well that maybe you're going to jinx it? This is the right time?
No, I think we were intentional in waiting, actually. It felt like a long time coming. We'd been, after we opened Mileta, probably 6 or 8 months in, we started getting inbounds from folks that wanted us to come, look at a project that they're working on or take over an existing spot. And we knew before we even started Mileta that we were wanting to grow a group and do a number of different concepts, just because I think Lexington specifically is underserved at the higher end, really across cuisine types. So we saw a big opportunity there and wanted to grow over time. But Karis came to us about 9 or 10 months ago, a local hospitality group that bought a hotel. They bought the 21C in Lexington and in Louisville. Approached us about potentially doing the restaurant there, and went through the typical courtship over a couple months of feeding them and getting to know them. But really sharp and smart partners that I think love Lexington, want to do something really special. And I guess going back a little bit, I don't have any partners in Mileta outside of Chef, and then we've got one silent investor also. But we don't have to ask permission to do anything. And this is a little bit different setup where we've got the hotel as a partner. We've got to be mindful of them. They're also our capital partner on the deal. So wanted to be thoughtful about who we got into bed with, and wanted to keep the autonomy and ability to run the restaurant how we want to do it, and really like this group and are excited. And so I think we'd been chomping at the bit to announce it. No nervousness on my end. I think we're going to crush it. And I've got the best team for hundreds of miles, in my opinion, and really talented folks that are hungry and want to grow. And so I think giving them a platform to go do that gets me really excited. And
the restaurant business is so tough, but you have entered the market and just smashed it. Really? I mean, it just doesn't happen so often that you can come in, it's like, okay, success. What is it? What do you think that you went into this thinking, it's got to be this careful balance of this in this day and age in order for it to work? Because your background's business, right?
It is.
And a lot of people that go into the restaurant business come at it from, I'm a chef, I like to cook.
Sure.
So do you think that this business mindset of yours with a love for good food allowed you to come in? Because most of these businesses, they don't last.
Sure. I
think
it's
hard.
It was very helpful. And I wasn't new to food necessarily. I'd never run a restaurant. I opened a burger joint when I was a senior in college and ran that for 18 months while I was in school full time. It was great, learned a ton, ended up closing it after 18 months. It was, we started on a shoestring budget and just a partner and I, and kind of ran it ourselves. And I had graduated and wanted to go do something else and thought I wanted to work on Wall Street, which is, the path was go to grad school and go do that, which was the path I ended up taking, but had the, 2 or 3 years into that world, knew that I didn't want to sit behind a desk for the rest of my life and was not cut out for that. So
what led you back to food?
I think I just always loved it. I worked in restaurants in high school and college and had just been around it and loved it. And my mother was a phenomenal cook, cooked every day, had a cake business when I was a kid. So I'd been around it. My uncle owned a bar up in Pennsylvania back in the day and kind of just, was like a cool dude growing up. But so I think I had the love for it, and I thought I could be good at it. I cooked every day for 20 years at home. I cooked professionally for a little bit, but I knew, I'm not cooking 500 plates a day in that kind of format. So going to find the right partner, who my partner and chef Alex Green is a genius, and is one of the reasons why we're so successful. But I think having the business background and knowing how to structure an investment and understanding real estate intimately, and a lot of these things that, as you mentioned, a lot of chefs are folks that are just food their whole life, and all they do is cook, and they've lived in a kitchen. It's not their fault. They just don't know how to do those things, and a lot of times make poor decisions just out of ignorance or lack of experience. And I think that's helped us navigate some of those things that are more difficult for those folks a little bit easier. And then I think to what I guess makes Mileta, or what has made it successful, is that I think the thing that most operators don't do well, in my opinion, is they don't get everything right. Like, a lot of places will have spectacular food, but the service doesn't live up to the food, or it's weak, or the music is bad, or the lighting's bad, or it's not well designed. But they'll get it like 60% of the way right, but not the whole way.
And then they'll stop. They'll be like, you know what?
Or they just don't know how, or they don't have the expertise, or they just don't.
It's good enough.
It takes a lot of work to get every single.
We're making money.
Detail. Exactly. No, and to me, Lexington, that's what's, I think, why it's such an interesting market is the folks. There's a lot of great restaurants there, and the people that have been running them have been doing it for 20 or 30 years, and they're making money. So it's like, why would we change or want to push the envelope when we're making dough? It doesn't matter. And I think that probably bleeds into that attitude of, we got it 60 or 70% of the way right, and it's good enough. But to me, that's unacceptable, especially when it's within your power to change it. And a lot of times it's just little minute things like, we got to polish the underside of the table every week and check for gum. And you've got to, if I walk past the bathroom and it's dirty, I'm going to clean the bathroom. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to go tell a service assistant to do it or the porter to do it. I'm going to do it. And I think those little things, and obsessing about the music and the lighting levels and the kind of bulbs that we're using and the way the plates look when they leave the kitchen. And, it's almost an unending list, but I think paying attention as much as we can to those things every single day, and not letting up on that, is what has made us successful, and hopefully what will continue to make the group successful.
You said your family cooked
Yes.
growing up. You liked your mom's cooking.
Oh, yeah.
What was it about your mother's cooking? She's from Kentucky?
She is actually from Pennsylvania. She's of Serbian descent.
Tell
Some
me
of
about
those
what's going on in the
flavors,
kitchen
but,
in your house.
Tell
me.
I mean, it's kind of funny. It's a big mismatch. Her sister married a Greek, and they've got an enormous family. So, and spent a ton of time with them. So I've kind of got an adopted Greek family that's half blood. And then my mom's side's all Serb. And then my dad is from here, and his father was, Eastern Kentucky for 5 or 6 generations. And my grandmother, his mom, was Italian. So it's a little bit of everything. And my mom cooked, just a lot of straightforward stuff. My dad didn't have the most adventurous palate, so a lot of steak and potatoes back then. And but I think just the act of cooking for someone else and service and generosity, even especially as a parent now, knowing like how beat down you are and tired, but like still showing up and
somebody's got to
getting
cook.
something warm on the table for the kids, and that act of love and service, I think, stuck with me, and being able to do that, albeit in a little bit different way, I think is one of the things that makes the restaurant business so attractive to me.
You talked about having that restaurant, the burger joint, in college. What lessons did you learn in that you think still stick with you to this day, that you're like, I'm so happy I made this mistake?
I think trying to, in the restaurant business, the people that you hire come from all walks of life, and some could be, straight out of jail. Some are in graduate school. Some are, have been through school and are living their second lives. So I think from a hiring standpoint, I made a couple bad hires. I mean, I was a 21-year-old kid. I didn't know shit about anything. And someone that, works hard, but maybe had a drug or substance abuse problem, especially in the restaurant business, that's very common. And people overlook that for somebody that's a high performer. And I got burned on that. And, the guy stole money from me, and it was not the end of the world, but a painful lesson. And, felt like you trust somebody and help them out. And
you're probably trying to help him out.
No, 100%.
Right.
Yeah, it came from an altruistic place and wanted the guy to do good. And I think, and it's not to say we have folks from all walks of life at Mileta, and my main goal is to do everything I can to improve their lives. And I think them being good at their job will improve their lives. But I think more so me treating them in a way and caring for them and them knowing that I care about them and want them to do better. I think, they show up for me and for the guest, in a more impactful way. But I think that lesson stuck with me. Not that you don't take chances on people and want to help people, but I think just being mindful of that and not letting someone's performance outweigh the potential negative effect it could have on the culture or, the organization overall. I
think too, it's like the mistakes and the setbacks that happen led you to this exact moment.
Totally.
Like for a reason.
Totally. No, and I think, the burger joint was a fantastic lesson. And then, being at Goldman Sachs for 7 years, working with some of the smartest people on the planet on really interesting things was, educational and enlightening, and, also, educational in the sense that I learned I didn't want to do that forever.
You can check finance.
Exactly. I can check it off the box.
List.
Exactly. I've done it. Cool. Like, let's move on. And then I think
that just feels like a grind.
It is a grind.
Feel like a grind,
totally.
Like,
and
day in and day out, that it was this all work
for sure. And
fun.
then I see the guy that's my boss, and he's on the road all the time. He's got 4 kids at home and doesn't get to see them, and he's still he's making a lot of money, but it's like, for what? And so I think that that pushed me here, and then trying to get Mileta open. I moved back to Kentucky in 2019 and had bought a piece of real estate in downtown Lexington that we thought we were going to put the restaurant in. That didn't work out. We pivoted, and luckily we made a smart enough real estate deal that it worked out. We put a nightclub in there, and it's still going, and they're paying rent. It's great, but very frustrating at the time. I'd been chomping at the bit to open a restaurant. Thought we were ready to go. Didn't work out. Back at it again. Have another lease lined up. 2020, COVID hits. Big time chef in from out of town. That's now I won't say who it is, but has gone on to some great fame in the TV space. But I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
And we were in Lexington having dinner on March 11th.
Is it competitive to get a really good chef?
It's hard to get a out of market chef to Lexington. And I would say probably Louisville's a much easier sell, I think, because it's obviously a bigger city and there's more going on here. But Lexington, to get somebody to leave New York or LA, and I think since 2020, it's certainly gotten easier because people want to leave those big cities and realize they can go to a Lexington or Louisville or Tennessee and get the same quality life and much cheaper and great people and for a number of reasons. But it proved difficult, but all that to say, we were having dinner March 11th, 2020, when the world fell apart, and in a restaurant next door to where we were going to put our restaurant, and it was dead. And they were like, "This is not going to work. The world's falling apart." And so, second at bat, strike out, and then back to the drawing board. Kept looking for locations, kept looking for a chef, and then finally, the location that we're at now gave me a call. Knew that we were looking for a spot. At first, I kind of balked at it, but spent some time and, met Alex kind of concurrently with that and put the team together and made it happen. But it'd been, 6 or 7 years in the making, banging my head against the wall, trying to make it happen. But just, I think not getting discouraged and, you can't control the things that you can't control, but I can control. Has
your chef though been the secret sauce? Like, totally would not have worked without him.
Totally. No. And I think that's, knowing where I'm weak or where we need to, I think a lot of, back to your point about chefs opening restaurants and they try to be everything to everybody and do everything, and they're just not good at everything. There's very few people that are good at everything. And even if they are, they don't have the capacity to do it all. So he's incredibly creative, so technically skilled, just an encyclopedia of knowledge, a great teacher. Our staff loves working for him. I think, he teaches me new stuff about food every day, and I thought I was pretty tapped in, but that's why, go hire somebody that's smarter than you or better than you or what you want them to do. And I think I will pat myself on the back and say that the hire of Alex was
brilliant.
Yeah, a great decision, and now he's continued to kill it.
Did you always set out knowing, okay, this is going to be an Italian space?
No,
Italian
and I
restaurant?
think that's, I wouldn't call us an Italian restaurant. I think we're, I guess, Italian-ish or Italian-inspired in that we're making pasta in-house, and the coursing and the pacing of the meal is more in the Italian style, where it's, there's small plates and then pasta course and then entree and dessert. So it's a little more leisurely paced. But I think the ingredients and our approach to cooking is really just whatever looks best at the market that Kentucky's producing right now, and whatever the best, protein or livestock we can get or seafood, and let's cook what we think is delicious. And whether that's, influenced by some Japanese dish or Peruvian or, whatever it is, we don't care. We're not bound to any, culture or specific cuisine or regionality. It's just whatever we think is delicious. And hopefully it's a reflection of Alex and mine's experiences and what's coming out of the ground here and showcasing the farmers. And so I think it's maybe Italian in delivery and maybe in perception just from the pasta. But I think it's turned more into just like, whatever we think is delicious, try to show off Kentucky, and, hopefully it's a reflection of the experiences and things that we think are delicious and
seems to be
well.
working. And you have a space to pivot. I feel like yes, the pasta's up front and forward facing immediately, but in all the other entrees, that gives you room.
Oh, totally. And
to totally experiment and go in a ton of different directions.
Totally.
Is that what you need, you think, in a restaurant these days? Like, was that very, very intentional that you thought, I think I need this space in order to make this successful? Because we can't be all things to all people.
I don't think it's 100% necessary in every restaurant. I think for our restaurant, and especially for what I want it to be, the crown jewel of hopefully what will eventually be a nice group that's got a bunch of really excellent restaurants, is we've just got to make this first one excellent. Mm-hmm. Like, it's going to be more expensive to run. The labor is going to be higher. The food cost may be a little bit higher, although Alex is crushing that. But it's like, let's just make this good and use this as a launch pad.
Yep.
And so we need the creative space so we can R&D things. And frankly, that's how we keep really good talent in the kitchen, is giving them, they can work with any ingredient they want to. If we don't have it in-house, we'll get it in-house. And same thing for the bar program. Like, if you guys want a specific spirit or ingredient or piece of technology that we don't have, like, we want to be the best bar in the state. If somebody's asking where should you go get a drink, it should be Mileta with a bullet, and we're going to do everything in our power to put you guys in position to do that. But you all have to take initiative and want to be creative and push yourself. And I think giving them a place to be creative and push themselves and learn is a huge amenity and benefit relative to most other places where that's just not commonplace.
Okay, you've teed this up already for what's next. So we're going to pause because there is a what's next.
Okay.
There's a big what's next, right?
Yes.
There's next restaurant to come. So pause for a quick break and more with Dallas Rose on the other side. Stay with us. Summer in the city hits entirely different when you know exactly where to look. I love traveling, but I have to be honest. Recently, my favorite weekends have been when I've just packed a bag, stayed right here, and indulged in the ultimate staycation. And for me, that always means Hotel Genevieve. If you want an escape that feels incredibly curated but completely effortless, they are running a special right now called the Lucky Kentuckian. It is essentially an exclusive discount just for tri-state neighbors. If you have a Kentucky, Indiana, or Tennessee ID, you can unlock this special rate, but you have to book directly on their website using the code LOCALS. It is subject to availability and blackout dates, so do not sit on this. Just head on over to hotelgenevieve.com, plug in the code LOCALS, and get started enjoying your proper summer getaway today. Welcome back. I'm sitting down with Dallas Rose, and it's time now for our sponsored question from our friends at Hotel Genevieve that I think just nail authenticity and a warm, hospitable environment every single time. So you are traveling everywhere, probably getting ideas for new restaurant concepts, and you're staying in a lot of hotels. What is the one thing about a hotel that you think they need to nail in order for you to feel like you are a local insider? The small touches that a hotel will do that you're like, yes, I'm coming back to this one.
I think a phone call from the concierge offering reservations or like a curated list, like, Mr. Rose, we know you're into X, Y, and Z. There's a couple new spots you may not have heard of. And even if I have, it's just like a nice, that kind of touch. It's really just the people. I think that's what, great hotels, the people are on top of it. And I think that's just another, I don't know how that touch point gets administered, but I think having some thoughtful, way to make that guest feel seen and that you know who they are. And, it's very similar to the restaurant business. Like, it could be as simple as a glass of bubbles or, a little small dessert at the end, or just going to shake somebody's hand. But I think just making them feel like they're seen and that you care about their experience while they're there, it's such an easy thing to do. So I don't know that's maybe not a great answer, like one specific thing, but I think it's just having your people trained to think of what the guest needs before they need it, or make that phone call or ask that question, I think is can go a long way. It costs the hotel nothing, and
right. And again, it goes back to what you and I talked about earlier. It's like hiring really great people that that when people leave your restaurants, that was fantastic, or they took such extra care of me. Like that matters. And do you feel like that's often the thing that's forgotten because we're just trying to make, most restaurants, I got to make money. We got to make this. We got to get
totally.
food out.
I think that's
like, it's like hair on fire.
Yeah, that's
all night long. You forget about, and I think the humanity of it sometimes can slip away.
Totally. No, and that's what separates really great restaurant or hotel operators from everybody else is it's not, you're going to forget the way the food tasted, or you're going to forget what dish you had, but they made you feel a certain way. That's the game.
Yeah. So you ready for another restaurant concept?
I think so.
Okay. What's the name of the new spot that's going to open?
It is Keris.
Okay.
It's going to be a Mediterranean influenced restaurant. The word Keris means grace in Greek. Charis is my Greek family's going to kill me for butchering that, but that's the way it's said. And Mileta means gracious in Serbian and kind of embodies what we
you're tying everything
wanna,
back to your family
what we
roots.
Do. And,
what a nod to them.
No doubt. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
But, I think grace and hospitality is one thing is kind of the top of the list for us. And so I thought that name was, just
How
fit.
do you think, what is the menu going to be like?
So it's going to be a mix of, I wouldn't say typical Mediterranean fare, but you'll have, your dips and spreads, and we're going to be making pita bread in-house. But, not typical hummus or baba ganoush, maybe a riff on that with some other things. A bunch of different rice and grain dishes, some nice salads. And so it'll be split up into, dips and breads and some other small plates, veg and grain, all of which will be maybe save for one or two vegetarian, gluten-free, dairy-free, which I think obviously the way the world is going and people's eating habits are changing with, Ozempic and just people being more conscious of what they're putting in their bodies, I think. And that style of food lends itself to, we can do that without having to sacrifice flavor or deliciousness, which is a really cool thing. And then all the proteins will be cooked on skewers over coals, and more shareable size. So like no big 40-ounce steak on the menu. Like if you want ribeye, it's going to come on a skewer. If you want salmon, it's going to be on a skewer. So it's more come with 4 people, get a couple dips and some bread, get 3 or 4, rice or salad dishes, get a bunch of different meats and go to town.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. Like, how do you narrow down what type of restaurant you think will be a hit in a community like Lexington? Like how do you find success in an SEC town with fine dining?
That's a really good question. We're still trying to find the answer.
But it's worked.
So far, so good. It's, it doesn't mean that it's not without its challenges.
It's not all wings and beer.
It's not all wings and beer. I think there's plenty of people in Lexington that like nice food and want something more creative and ambitious and better executed. I think a lot of the moneyed public in Lexington is still very much meat and potatoes and that's just what the restaurant scene has been there for so long, which is fine. And a lot of those folks crush it and make a lot of money, and that's the reason that no impetus to change. But I think at least for Keris, the way we thought about what to do there was there's no Mediterranean at a higher end in Lexington right now. There's some fantastic Mediterranean spots, but they're all kind of quicker service lunch spots, no full service with a bar and wine program and all that. So we felt like that, the segment was missing from the market. Where we were downtown, or where we're going to be downtown rather, is kind of the land of steakhouses in downtown Lexington. There's some big kind of red sauce joint Italian spots, but nothing.
Is that what you call them? Red sauce joints?
Red sauce joints, like the older, chicken parm and via marsala and
red sauce joint
meatballs, and so we thought it was approachable enough cuisine that most people like Mediterranean. They'll eat shish kebab and rice and pita bread. Like who doesn't like that? And I think at Mileta we found a way to weave in some more interesting and creative ingredients, but deliver them in a way that's palatable for folks that may, be averse to some of the more exotic stuff. But I think, Mediterranean, it's not being done downtown. We're not a steakhouse. We can capture the fine dining crowd or the folks that want something a little more elevated and they don't want steak or the same thing. And everybody we've talked to about it, and we kind of canvassed the market, and I asked some folks that I trust and just get their thoughts on it, and everybody thought
What's
it was
missing?
a home run. Nobody's doing it, and if you can execute it, have as good as you did in Mileta, we should be.
Who's your chef on deck?
Alex is going to run it, and I'm going to be in the dining room. He'll do two. We've got enough talent at Mileta that's been there since day one that it'll be in good hands, and he'll still be in both restaurants. But he and I both thought it's important for us to be present in the restaurant to set the tone for at least the first 3 or 4 months, just to make sure that the culture's right. And because we know that that's the special sauce, and it cannot be cultivated if we're not there doing it. And we can ask the folks that have been working for us and that we've trained to go do it, but selfishly, we want to be there just to make sure that it's
keep everything of that level,
be,
that this is what's expected. Absolutely. Then everybody knows. Good stuff is hard to find. How are you always cultivating such good, authentic team culture? So they're coming in and they're knowing this is the standard, but you must be pulling from a pool of eager people that
it's hard.
Want to be in the room.
It is challenging. We haven't had a ton of turnover at Mileta, which has been great. I think speaks to the culture, but it's really the only turnover is imposed by us, which is, I guess, is the good position to be in. But it's not a super deep talent pool. I don't think anywhere is really. There's a lot of people in the pool, but I don't know that there's a ton of talent in the pool.
Right. Everybody's selling stuff on Etsy.
Pretty much, or they've got a YouTube channel.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
is that what people are doing?
But I think
Amazon?
It's finding people with some kind of fire in their belly and just they just having a care about something. Just care. You don't have to be great at it. Just care about trying to be better. And that's a really hard thing to find, unfortunately. But when you do find it, and we have found it in a lot of folks, you have to hold on to it and cultivate it. But a lot of it starts with Alex and I. I have to show up every day with energy and the right attitude and, gung ho to go crush it. And if I'm not there, or whoever's leading, running the ship is not in that frame of mind, then it's not going to work.
Right. Exactly. What is the biggest misconception that you think there is about running a successful restaurant business?
Well, I don't think there's a misconception that it's easy, because it's certainly not easy. And I don't think most people think it is.
People think it is incredibly glamorous. And
it is not glamorous by any means.
Television.
Yeah, no, the TV thing is not the same deal at all. Not that I've been on TV, but I know I've cooked with TV chefs and have been around. It's just a different thing. It's not glamorous. I think you better love serving people and have a generous spirit, or you're just in the wrong business, because there's as many good folks that we get to serve every day, and the good in humanity we get to see. The restaurant, you also see the worst parts of humanity in the restaurant business, and people acting crazy and treating people like crap that are serving them, and that's disheartening. And but you take with the good with the bad, and roll with the punches. But it's not glamorous, and I think you end up being everybody's psychiatrist that works for you, whether you like it or not.
I didn't even ask you about the name of the hospitality group, Relentless. Well, I feel like you've already answered that, really, in how you've described the culture. Why land on the word relentless for the hospitality group, for the restaurant group?
I think to me, when somebody asks me why we named it that, or what it means, it's just, I think, pursuing excellence in every interaction, especially when nobody's looking. Which I know is similar to the definition for integrity, but I think we want to do the things that last 30% or 20% that the other operators aren't doing all of the time, whether somebody's looking or not. So when we're closed, we're watering the plants, or cleaning, or pruning, or doing R&D, or whatever it is. But I think that attitude, in my mind, is what will make us successful. And so to have that front and center and remind us every day that's what we got to be.
It's a big reminder. It's a big reminder. So this podcast is called The Best Bet. So we do have to wager a bet here at the end. What am I doing if we're not doing that? So how difficult restaurants can be with timelines and permits and everything, because that's the nature of it, right? But people are actually wagering on businesses now in prediction markets. So what are the chances that your new restaurant could open by January the 1st? Open its doors to the public, New Year's Day, or sometime in January?
90%.
Bet on it. Yeah. Really. All right, there we go. All right. So cool to talk to you. Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
having me. This has been awesome.
I'm going to have everything over in the show notes over on YouTube. So if you want to learn more about Relentless Hospitality, the restaurants, follow Dallas and the whole team along for all their adventures that they're going on in Lexington and how they're completely changing the food scene there. Do that. Also, we're on iHeart, Spotify, Apple, WBNA 790, but do hit subscribe. Share this information with your friends. Follow us over on Instagram at The Best Bet Pod, and more guests, support it, spread the word, please. Would love that. And we'll see you right back here next week. Thanks. Thank you so much for watching the podcast. No matter where you're watching this right now, please leave a review because that gets the word out about this particular podcast. So until next week, have a good one, everybody. Cheers.